Hello and welcome. I am SAG-AFTRA Executive Vice President Ben Whitehair.
And I'm NextGen Performers Committee Chair Jenna Doolittle.
Thank you all for joining us for this SAG-AFTRA program on YouTube. To stay informed about all of our video events, we invite you to subscribe to this channel, which you can go ahead and do right now. As a reminder, today's program is available anytime right here on SAG-AFTRA's YouTube channel, along with tons of other wonderful content. Today, the President's Task Force on Education, Outreach, and Engagement, the PTEOE, in collaboration with the National Women's Committee and the National NextGen Performers Committee, present Follow the Leaders, a conversation with the multi-generational, successful, and talented members of the Leder family.
To each other, they are mothers and daughters, sisters, aunts and nieces, and cousins. To the industry, they are actors, directors, writers, producers, and casting directors. To us today, they are our very welcome guests here to tell us how each of them has succeeded in an industry often riddled with sexism and ageism. Today's moderator, Shari Belafonte, is an award-winning actor, producer, director, singer, writer, spokesperson, photographer, videographer, and cinematographer, as well as a voiceover artist for cartoons, documentaries, and commercials. Shari's face has graced hundreds of magazine covers worldwide, including 6 Vogue covers. She's currently recurring on Apple TV's The Morning Show and Tyler Perry's Sistas for BET. Shari sits on the SAG-AFTRA National Board and the LA Local Board. She is co-chair of the National Women's Committee, a vice chair for the LA Ethnic Employment Opportunities Committee, and is a member of the National Native Americans and National Diversity Advisory Committees, as well as a convention delegate. Shari, wow, thank you so much for your service. Thank you for being here, and thank you for coordinating this incredible panel today. Please take it away.
Oh my God, I'm exhausted just hearing about me. I want to thank you guys, Jenna and Ben. Thank you so much for being here to open this up. And of course, I am more than thrilled. I know that sounds so cliche, but I'm really thrilled to have Mimi Leder, Stefanie Leder, Geraldine Leder, and Hannah Leder here. They're phenomenal women. I've known them, well, almost all of Hannah's life. And I just can't be more excited than to bring them here to the forefront so that we can all ask them a bunch of questions and talk to them and find out how they actually have maintained sanity in this insane business. So let me introduce first Mimi. Mimi Leder, of course, is a wonderful director, producer. She's my boss right now on the morning show, so I'm going to be really nice to her.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Geraldine Leder, who's the casting director extraordinaire, but now she is the senior vice president of casting at Paramount Studios. I've known her. We've been buddies we go way back. And she's here to give us a little insight on what it is to be a casting director in the studios, even though she's now running the casting directors as opposed to actually casting. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. Happy to be here.
Stefanie Leder, who's cousin and wonderful writer. She's a producer. She's got projects that are going nonstop, and she's also a mom. So she's going to give us a little insight onto how to maintain her sanity with babies and script writers at hand. Stefanie?
Hi, everybody.
Last but not least, we have Hannah Leder, who is a writer, producer, director, editor, new mommy, actress, and my goddaughter. Did I mention that? So Hannah, take it away for a brief moment.
Hello, we're so happy you're tuning in to listen to us crazy ladies.
Ladies, thank you for coming. I'm like I said, I'm thrilled and excited to get this one going. So we have so many questions, but Mimi, let me ask you right off the bat, how did I rope you into doing this?
Well, you came in on an audition like most of the actors do on the morning show. And what was, I always knew that this part was yours, and a few people didn't know you. I mean, knew you, but people these days, we like to see everything. And you came in and you nailed it, and you're incredible. And that's how you're on the morning show. Hannah also is on the morning show, and she had many, many auditions for a particular part. And, we loved her so much. And, it was really interesting. I just kept my mouth shut because she is my daughter, and I let everybody else talk, and they loved her. And so she read for another part and got it. And there's been many, I brought her in a lot and she doesn't always get it, but she's an incredible actor.
She's an incredible actor. And one of the questions that came up from the NextGen group is, our past season, the second season, was geared and focused on the pandemic. And of course, I know that we started the show with different scripts because we didn't know about the pandemic and of course had to shut down. How did you wrangle that? How did you manage to get through, our season being topical while living it?
Yeah, well, we were shooting for 13 days, the second season, and we shut down because of the pandemic. And then we reevaluated what we were, wanted to say. And so we were living in the pandemic and, nobody was vaxxed, nobody was boosted. It was the world of the unknown. And so we picked a time period that we knew that we could talk about and be authentic about and honest about. And that's what we did. And we all jumped in October, months after our shutdown, and started shooting again, unvaxxed. We were one of the first shows back, as you remember. And it was a really interesting time because everybody was pretty scared. Nobody knew what stay 6 feet, do this, masks, it was a whole different way of working. But as filmmakers and as storytellers on a set, you don't keep your distance. So after a couple of weeks, we got really comfortable and we lost ourselves back into the storytelling, which is what we all do as directors, writers, actors.
And Geraldine, you weren't going into the studio at all, right? You weren't working it from home.
No, we just started actually going back a couple months ago, a couple days a week. So it was really challenging getting used to working from home in a business and a career that you're used to doing amongst people. So it was quite an adjustment.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I know that you personally don't cast anymore, but casting directors right now are working from home and we're doing all these Zoom auditions. And, I just want to jump on that just a little bit because you think that that's now going to be the new norm for us, that I've heard people say that they don't want to pay for studio space anymore to set these up, and whether or not it's more conducive for the actor, more conducive for the casting directors and everybody. Can you just address a little bit about that? I know, like I said, I know you don't personally cast anymore, but you do handle the casting directors that do that.
It's like we've learned so much in this time. And I feel like for actors, it's almost like a liberating thing because you can self-tape and you can create your own audition in a way where when you go into a room, it's like you feel like, okay, that's your shot. There's people looking at you. You're sitting in a room. This way you can have your own destiny with this audition and send it when you feel good about it. So I think there's a lot of pros to the self-tape world now. And I mean, going into a room with people, yeah, do you miss that connection? But there are other ways that you can connect. It may not be seeing each other in the same place, but there's other ways that you can do it where you can still achieve the same goal.
Right, I was going to say, because I know some actors have brought up the fact that they feel like they can't call the casting director or call their agent to call the casting director if they have some questions, or they may want to do it 2 or 3 different ways. Do you think that makes sense, that they can have the opportunity to contact the casting director?
Absolutely. They should reach out to their agent and say, I have these questions that I would normally ask in a room, and I have these questions. Could you please connect me with the casting director, or can you filter these questions to the casting director and let me know how the answers to these questions? And I feel like, people, casting directors that I know do that.
I think so. Stefanie, you are a mom, as is Hannah. So I just want to find out, because you're a little bit of an older mom with a slightly older child. How did you manage to get through the insanity of being in this business while juggling babies?
It's hard. Room hours and set hours can be long. I was fortunate that when I had my baby the first year I was developing, I was working on a pilot for CW. So I had a little bit of flexibility, but I remember I had to do research on something. And so I was at like a tech company in LA pumping breast milk, and like they didn't even have a private bathroom. So I was like in a conference room and I just closed the door and hoped no one would come in. So that was a little bit challenging, but yeah, no, it's difficult. You have to have support, if you have a partner, and then sometimes you have hired help, and there's no way to do it without help. You have to have help, whether it's a partner, a grandparent, a cousin, or whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say, because all of you leader ladies, I've personally witnessed this. You guys are a family. You guys come to everybody's challenged moment and chip in. I mean, I know Geraldine probably raised half of Hannah. Am I right, Mimi? Yes. I'm sure she was there many times while you were off shooting or directing, and then Hannah. It takes a village, right?
It's hard. I think it's very challenging, and I think you have to build a village if it's not by blood. And I think it's hard too, because we don't live in a country with I'd say very ideal, like built-in, maternity leave or any of these things that I think a lot of other countries have. So we do have to juggle this. Luckily for me, I have a great partner who is a great co-parent. I think the thing that has my kid, he's 9.5 months old. So I'm still learning and I'm still figuring out how to do this. But something that comforts me is just realizing, like, we've been doing this a long time, like many, many, many years, many, many, many women have been raising children for a very long time. And, I just use that as perspective a little bit, like where there's a will, there's a way. And, I think babies bring good luck. And I think while they take away your sleep, they give you energy. And, I think there's a give and take with everything with it.
Your mom, Mimi, said to me, babies bring good luck, because I was pregnant when I was pitching. And I was like, oh, no one's going to buy my pitch. I'm 8 months pregnant. They're going to be like, how is she going to do this? And I was so worried. Mimi's like, they bring luck. And I sold the pilot from the hospital room.
Yeah.
There you go. And Hannah brought me incredible luck in every possible way, personally and career-wise. Like everything exploded. Like it was like, no, not now. I have a baby. But things happen when they happen, and you just got to embrace.
And the industry is getting better. It used to be really hard to take time off as a writer. They've changed that. There's a little bit more maternity leave and paternity leave, I think. But also showrunners are now more understanding. Like there used to be a culture of like, come back after 2 weeks, and that doesn't exist as much anymore, which is great.
For actors, I think it's very different from a writer's point of view. You're in a room or you're writing from home. An actor has to appear on set, and they have to come to set with great confidence and great focus. And, for that time you're on set, who's your child with, and because I don't think, yes, we're all as exec producers and showrunners sympathetic to everyone who has a child, but our main focus is like, we're shooting this today and we've hired you to be here. So it's different than being on set is different than being in an office. Like I've been in offices where, people have their dogs and their kids but when you say roll, you can't have a kid screaming. So anyway, but everybody embraces family.
Is it different now than it was, say 20 years ago for women, do you think?
I think it's very different now. I think it's understood more, but, when I had Hannah, I got my first job when she was 3 months old, and, I couldn't bring her with me, but, can a mother bring a child to your trailer and have a nanny? Yes. But, in those days it was a little different. I was in my director's room, engorged, trying to figure out how to be a director when my breasts were leaking and everyone was looking at me for, answers and authority. And I was like, yeah, just faking it. Anyway.
Do you find now, Mimi, it's difficult, or is it easier with the male crew? Because most of the crews still out there are male driven. I know we had a lot of women on our crew for the morning show, but that's kind of new. Did you ever have any, headbutting with your crew over the years?
I've had a few incidences where I've been disrespected, for sure. And especially when I was a younger director and challenged. And, this one director of photography I worked with, he was misogynist, sexist. He was everything. And he was so rude and so damaging in a way. I went to the producers and they fired him. And that was a while back. And I think today there's no tolerance for any of that. And on our show, we hire lots of women. We hire lots of people of color. We try and have our crew reflect the world. And it's getting better, but it's still not good enough.
Yeah, I was going to say about the no tolerance, like that's true and it's not true, especially in the room, because lower level writers don't feel comfortable going to the executive producer. And oftentimes it's not, sometimes it's the executive producer, but sometimes it's the co-EP or the supervising. And then who are the younger lower level writers supposed to go to complain? Because then you start a rift. So I think it's getting a lot better, but it's not done. Like we're still facing it.
I don't know. I've also been on crews since Me Too, obviously, and there's always, not to contradict you, but from my point of view, if there's any behavior with actors, with crew members, it is always reported these days.
Oh, I'm speaking to the room. In the room, that's not the case.
In the room, right.
If it's coming from the top or close to the top, it doesn't always get reported.
Yeah.
How do we rectify that?
So when I'm in a room, I always talk to the younger writers and say, if you're not comfortable, I've been the co-EP and upper level. Like, if you're not comfortable talking to the EP, come talk to me. I'll talk to the EP.
That's great.
Wow. Hannah, you did a movie that, first of all, I think it's fabulous. And The Planters, which I said to you, it's like a little Wes Anderson movie. That's what it felt like to me. You and your best friend took 2 years. It was 2 years that you took to put this together, right?
We shot it over 2 years, yeah.
And you basically self-taught yourself how to shoot, how to edit, how to all of this. This comes from this gene known as your mother Mimi, right? that you just decided, I'm going to make a movie.
When I was little, I wanted to act. I wanted to do it seriously, and my parents would not let me. They wanted me to just be a child without being a child actor. And they said, when you're 18, you can do what you want to do, but you cannot act right now, professionally, seriously. And so I sort of put all that energy. We had like 2 family camcorders in the house, and I just started shooting things with Alexandra Kachev, who's my creative partner now still. But we started shooting films when we were maybe 12.
Oh yeah, don't forget the one I produced, Hannah.
Yes. And your mother starred in, and Geraldine's husband starred in as well with Alexandra. That's where the bug started. I realized, I can't act. I want to direct then when I'm 12. So I was directing things then and writing things. And and we, around, I think 25 years old, we started writing together again and wrote our first feature, but decided not to make that because we didn't know how we would raise money for it, as 2 young women in the industry at that time that had done nothing together, and we wanted to direct it together. So we decided to do something smaller in scale, which only had, 4 speaking roles. And Alexandra had the wild hair idea to do it without a crew. We had done documentary work together. She had hired me to do sound and camera work before. So we had had experience with this camera, the Canon C300. And we went out to the desert and started shooting this. We had like 25 pages of a script, and we're like, we're not going to write the whole script, just we have part of a script, and realized we needed a script very badly. So we we stopped and wrote one, but what we did realize there is we could do this. And what's incredible about living in the time that we live in, this age of information that's at our fingertips, well, it's also kind of a curse. You can teach yourself so many things. So for example, when we ran out of a budget to keep working with our editor, I learned Avid myself and edited the film.
And we're able to do that nowadays with all the technology that's at our fingertips. It really is kind of just go ahead and do it, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
If you want to see Hannah's film, it's on it's The Planters on Apple TV and Amazon Prime, and I don't know where else it is, but they sold it actually, and it's a brilliant film.
I was like so over the top excited to see this and to see what a wonderful movie it was. And then I got pissed that I wasn't in it. It's like, wait a second. Why was I in this movie?
You'll be in the next one, Shari, for sure. Shari's my godmother. I failed her this round. But...
A self-appointed godmother. As soon as I saw what a talent she was, I went, oh, I'm signing on to this one too. Geraldine, how did you get into casting? That's what I want to say. I mean, you don't do that now, but you did in the early days. Tell me a little bit about the early days.
Well, you know, we all grew up working on our father's films, and we all did many things. I was a script supervisor. I was his assistant editor. I would splice dailies with him on actual film. And then I would do casting, and I would do everything. I would just do it all. It's like, you're going to do this. I'm like, okay, sure, great. And I loved it. And then I really loved casting. And so I was in this situation where I needed to get a job. I loved editing and I really loved casting. And I said, okay, whichever comes first, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I put out in the universe and to myself. So Mimi was working on a show, and I said, I want to meet this casting director. Can you set something up? And so she did. I met her. She hired me. I had done nothing. She was great. And she hired me to be her assistant. And it was, and I got to work on this little show called Cheers, the third season. And it, you know, we did the season of casting Woody, and the character's name was Woody. So Woody Harrelson. And it was the highlight of my time back then. It was just like, wow, I can't believe I'm working on Cheers. And then I stayed in casting, and I've been doing it ever since, in different aspects, being independent, being at a studio, and they're all great.
Mimi, you were the first female, am I correct, that went to AFI in the directing department?
Well, I signed in for I wanted to be a cinematographer, and I was the first female cinematographer. And they said, don't you want to come in as a director? And I said, no, I want to come in as a cinematographer. I want to shoot. I want to learn how to shoot. And then, of course, as soon as I got in, I wanted to be a director. And I was 21 years old.
How do you guys maintain sanity in all this? I'll go to Hannah first, the youngest one.
I mean, you gotta do your self-care. You gotta do whatever it is you need to take care of yourself, whether that's exercise, which I'm sure everyone can, you know, all those wonderful chemicals that go off in your brain. I take lots of walks, yoga, gratitude lists really help me. Reaching out to people if I'm feeling like I need to talk to somebody. And working, like as an actor, there are many times we are not working and we have to find something else to do. And for me, my sanity is entirely wrapped up in my creativity. So if I'm not creating, I do feel like I'm on edge. And so for me, that's writing. That's getting up in the morning and being able to write, even if it's for 20 minutes, like committing to some form of the craft of storytelling is super important for me.
I know, Ra, you do. Sorry, everybody. I call her Ra. That's her nickname. Geraldine, you do yoga. You're a yoga freak, right?
Yeah, I've been doing yoga for a really long time. I do Ashtanga yoga, and it's a system. It's doesn't matter if you can do the poses. It's the breath and and it's a moving meditation. And I do it probably 2-3 times a week. And used to do it more. You know, you only have so much time because it's a long practice. And it really, it keeps your sanity. You have to always, it doesn't matter what you do, you just got to keep breathing and get out of your head.
I guess advice you would give actors, you know, actors are going to say, how do I get out of my head if I sort of feel like I'm right for a part, but I'm going to go in and read for this part, but, you know, I didn't get this part, you know, what did I do wrong? Is it all about the actor that they did something wrong? Or is there a reason why we shouldn't go in to audition for something, I guess, if you don't feel right about it?
I think like you have to feel like when you're going in for an audition, you have to feel some sort of connection to the role. You know, if you don't feel connected to it, maybe there's a reason why. Maybe you kind of think about it and then you go in and do it. Or maybe maybe that's just not the right role for you.
But it makes sense to go ahead and do it anyway, maybe for the casting director to at least get to see you and maybe think about you for something else in the future. Or do you run the risk as an actor of being terrible and then never being seen by that casting director again?
I don't think so. I mean, I think like sometimes you're right for certain roles. Sometimes you're better for other roles. And I think when someone sees you, they go, okay, you may not be right for this, but oh my goodness, you're right for this other role. And so I think like work begets work. And I think like an auditioning is a practice. And I think auditioning is really hard. And I think the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it.
Just the subtle mindful shift of realizing that the audition is part of the job, like that, wow, I get to play this role right now. It's already started. It's not about once I'm on set, it's like, this is my time and this is what I want to be doing. And I get to play this part. And even if that means it's an hour of self-taping or 15 minutes in your apartment, wherever you live, like it's your time to get lost in that character. And I think looking at it as an opportunity always is helpful, at least for me, in terms of, I think the stress of trying to book is a sure way to kind of sort of kill the process a little bit, kill the joy, right?
I think you need to be in the moment and not think about what the outcome is going to be, and just be in the moment. You could speak to that, Hannah, too.
Yeah, I think when I was younger, I hated auditioning. I really hated it. I dreaded it. And it wasn't until an actor, I had the privilege of speaking with Ann Dowd, and she loves auditioning. And she just, the way she spoke about it was this beautiful opportunity to play, and that's where it is. And I was like, that's it, you're right. And so literally from that conversation on, I just started shifting my mindset a little around it. And the more you can keep shifting, you will rewire your brain, and it becomes this just a more enjoyable thing.
And I would add something too, after you do get the part, there's a bit of the imposter syndrome in everybody. Why did I get the part? Who am I? I'm here on set with these actors, and like, who am I? And I don't belong here. Well, that's not true. You got the part because we saw something in you that was extraordinary. And so, I mean, it's not just actors that have this syndrome, directors, everybody has it at one point, even if it's little or big, but you got the part because you were great and you are great. And, just know that.
Have you ever been surprised by an actor, Mimi? Like you think you're going to hire Denzel Washington, and then, I don't know, Elle Fanning walks in and she's perfect for that part?
Yeah, that happens all the time. When you're auditioning, I've come from the school of, before the pandemic, everything was in person. And so the thrill of seeing an actor in person really flip your mind or just blow your mind is an extraordinary moment. And you think you're looking for this, but you found that. And, television does break actors, it always has and it always will. And very different than films. And it's exciting when someone walks in the room and embraces it like Hannah was discussing. And, just inhabits the role. And, we directors, producers, think we might know what we want, but sometimes we don't know what we want until it's staring us in the face. And it also, sometimes also it's all chemistry. You may be great for this part, but the chemistry is, you're not seeing it with the other actor. And it's also sometimes a very big picture you're looking at. You're looking at all the actors and how they relate to each other. So when you're selecting someone for a role, there's just many things that go into it.
Stefanie, when you're writing, do you write with an actor in mind, or do you write the character and then wait and see who fits the bit?
Yeah, so if I'm writing on a show, then obviously I'm imagining actors that are already there. But yeah, if I'm writing something fresh, sometimes every once in a while it's a person from my life. Like my brother, you know him well, is such a character. So oftentimes I'm just writing my brother, changing him a little. But yeah, it helps me. When you're writing, you want every voice to sound distinct, but it's all coming from you. So you have to make your voice sound different. So yeah, I think of particular actors and try and channel their voice a little bit.
Stefanie, how do you stay sane?
Medication. No. Meditation, really. I know everyone's like, oh, meditate. And it's like, it took me forever to get into it too, but it really does help. And there's so many apps like Insight Timer or Calm. You can just start for 2 minutes. Just start for 2 minutes. Just set it for 2 minutes. It really, really helps over time to build your resilience, because being an actor, but being a writer, it's just full of rejection, constant rejection. And so you need to feel confident and safe. And the other thing is perspective. Our culture tends not to think about death, but I find that thinking about death is really helpful. It helps with life and something to think about. No, but seriously, like when I'm dying, am I going to care that I didn't get this role or that I didn't get this job? Like, you are not going to care. It's important to you in this moment. It won't be important to you when you're dying. So I like to put things in perspective. Is this important for all of my life, or is this important for this moment?
That's a good point. Yeah. All right. Last question. I'm just going to ask you and give us a quick, concise answer if you can think of one. And I'll start with Mimi. Mimi, if you had it all over to do all over again, what would you say to your younger self if you knew what was going to happen today? What advice would you give your younger self?
I give my younger self the advice to don't hold back, let it all hang out. A person's reach should exceed their grasp, or what's a heaven for, Browning said. And I would say that I would tell my younger self to just let loose and follow your heart and your dreams, and no regrets.
Geraldine?
I would tell my younger self to live in the present. Don't think what's ahead. Enjoy the journey, and be thankful for what you have, and and follow your dreams, and just enjoy the journey. And I have no regrets either.
Stefanie?
There's this saying, and I don't know if it's true, but it's really helpful mentally, which is that you can't lose something that's meant for you. And so if I could tell my younger self, like, not to sweat the stuff that didn't work out, whether it's a role, a job, a romantic relationship, stop putting so much energy into trying to get something that's not coming to you. If it's not coming, let it go, move on. There are more things coming to you.
Mm-hmm. I want to add one more thing. And for actors, never give up. Keep pursuing what you want to do and your passion, and just keep going. Don't give up.
Hannah?
Man, that's hard to follow. I would definitely tell myself to drink more water. I was severely dehydrated in my early 20s. I would just say have more fun. Like, I really would have told myself, have more fun doing the work. The work is where the fun is and the joy is. So, be unreasonably joyful.
And I take it from, it's my new favorite line. It's not my new one. I've been using it for years. It's actually from Galaxy Quest. It's never give up, never surrender.
Yes.
It's true.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you, ladies. You know, I'm excited. We all got this opportunity to share your lives with everybody else that's out there that's going to tune in, and hopefully we can do this again sometime. Maybe on set, maybe in person.
Yeah. Thank you, Shari.
Thank you, Shari.
Thank you, Shari.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you all so much. I really, really appreciate everybody making the time to join us here today. Jenna, did you have any final thoughts? And then I'll sign us off here.
Yeah, I just want to say, I know this conversation resonated with me personally so much. So I really appreciate you sharing ideas about self-care, about starting a family, about like how you've persevered in this industry. I know it's going to resonate so much with the next gen audience, but I think all actors and all content creators, producers, writers, directors. So thank you so much for taking time out of your very multifaceted and busy schedules to be with us today. And Shari, thank you for coordinating and bringing these like amazing, amazing women together.
So appreciate each of you, Mimi, Geraldine, Stefanie, Hannah Leder, for being with us. It means the world. Shari, you are wonderful. And for all of you watching, thank you so much for tuning in each week for our PTEOE President's Task Force on Education, Outreach, and Engagement live streams. If you have ideas for topics you'd like to see us cover, please email us at pteoe@sagaftra.org. And if you haven't already, while you're here, go ahead and subscribe to SAG-AFTRA's YouTube channel to get updates on the great content we continue to post. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day.